Yo, what's going on guys? HyperX here. Welcome back to another video for Monster Hunter Rise Sunbreak, and today I'm talking about my top 5 sword and shields. We kicked this video off the other day with the long swords. As always, we do these videos every Monster Hunter game and basically go through our top 5 picks for each of the weapon classes. This is always a mix of weapons that have good high raw damage, elemental, status, and also cool factor, because honestly, if you're not considering cool factor into your weapon choices, then you're doing it all wrong. So this is not going to be a meta list, so to speak. This is just a selection of my top pick sword and shields. They are still really good, and they do of course include lots of the new weapons introduced in Sunbreak. So if you guys do enjoy this, a like would be super appreciated. Comment down below, let me know what your favourite sword and shields are, or your favourite other weapons. And of course, do be sure to let me know if there are things that you think should be included in this list that maybe I didn't mention. It's also worth noting, as I said in the previous video, that as of Sunbreak, once you get to the end of the game, you can upgrade pretty much every single weapon to Rarity 10. So some of the weapons that were previously good in Rise, things like the Nagakuga Sword and Shield, the Tigrex Sword and Shield, or other weapons like that, they are all still viable. So largely speaking, if you have a weapon that was previously a favourite, you can also upgrade it and it will still be good. But again, where possible, I want to focus on new weapons because there are some fantastic new picks. And the first one I want to talk about is the Espionage Sword and Shield, the Rosengedian, I believe that's how you pronounce it, or something like that. This one, when upgraded to Rarity 10, which I still need to do, will give you 320 base attack, a nice chunk of purple sharpness, some decent fire attack, and also 20% affinity. Unfortunately, it doesn't have any regular slots. It does have a level 2 rampage slot, which does give you a decent degree of things to choose from, not the most flexible, but it is still really nice. I will say, I was a little bit sad this one wasn't poison. I know, of course, Espionage carries different elements, and depending on what you choose, the longsword, for example, has poison, the dual blades has fire and poison. I kind of wish this had poison or even paralysis, to be honest, but elemental is fantastic for sword and shields. This is good if you're fighting anything that, of course, is weak to fire. Yes, it does still have some good raw damage, so you can still just use it raw factor if you want to because it has a cool design, but this is still a nice elemental weapon with good sharpness and good affinity. This one I like a lot. Moving on from there, we then have the Spiritstealer. This is the Scorned Magnamalo upgraded version of the regular Magnamalo Sword and Shield, which, by the way, I said back in Rise, I already loved that weapon. I loved it from a design point of view. It just looked incredibly cool. Plus, it carried Blast, which was fantastic. And this is just a straight upgrade. 330 attack, a nice chunk of purple sharpness, 33 blast, 0% affinity, but it does have a great selection of slots, or at least a decent selection. You've got a level 3 slot and a level 2 slot, giving you plenty of things to gem in skills. Plus you have another level 2 slot Rampage Decoration, which of course is quite nice for this one because the Teostra Soul Rampage Decoration is a level 2, and that one of course would synergize quite nicely because it does slightly increase the damage of blast explosions. So all round that would be a nice pick, and again it's just a fantastic weapon. I love the design for this one. The additional ticks of blast is always just some nice bonus damage, often good for creating flinches or some nice part breaks, so definitely don't sleep on this. Following on from there, I of course need to mention the final boss weapon. I feel like this is kind of going to appear in a lot of lists, but I chose this one anyway. I kind of like the design. I will say it wasn't my favourite design of the final boss ones. I kind of wish the Charge Blade was just shrunk down and given as a sword and shield, because that has a really cool shield and a sword. But still, this has that interesting, almost like elven / Kena Bridge of Spirits sort of spiritual look to it, but this is still cool design-wise. However, a lot of the time, the reason you'll pick these ones is for the huge chunk of purple sharpness. If you're running this simply for the raw damage, because of course it has 350 attack, which is nice, 18 Dragon does have negative 25% affinity, but affinity is relatively easy to offset with skills like Weakness Exploit, other stuff like that. And it does have a nice meaty level 3 Rampage Decoration slot. But this thing, if you're running the shield playstyle, Hard Basher, Shield Bash, that kind of thing, then you will basically never need to sharpen the entire damn quest. Of course, if you lean more into the sort of new sword-based combos, you will still get through it, but that chunk of purple sharpness will give you so much mileage. So, if you want a nice weapon you can kind of just use and forget about, this is a good pick. Another one that I really like is the Antique Machina Tree. This is the Antique Machina Sword and Shield. Once crafted, this gives you 330 attack, a decent chunk of purple sharpness, not exactly the greatest, it is relatively small, but again you could offset that with skills that help you sort of elongate sharpness, make it last longer, that kind of thing. But I'm happy with the fact this also comes with sleep. It is definitely not the highest sleep rating on a sword and shield. There are definitely better picks if you're going purely for sleep. However, the fact that this of course has nice raw attack, nice sharpness and sleep means you will will get that passive bonus, means you will get the opportunities to put monsters to sleep, especially if you gem it in and work towards that. So of course that can then synergize nicely with things like sleep bombing playstyles, that kind of stuff. It does of course have 0% affinity, and on the slot choice it is pretty poor, but these ones design wise I just love. These look incredibly cool. I love the sort of tech slash sort of Xenobladey look to them. So this one, from a sheer cool factor, definitely gets my rating. And then finally, the last one goes to the Barbarian Terra Plus. The upgraded Rarity 10 version gives you the highest raw damage on a sword and shield, 380 attack. Admittedly, it does not have any purple sharpness. It has a slither of white and a massive chunk of blue, but if you are using this purely to hit hard with the hard basher playstyle, attack with your shield, don't think about the sword, this thing is going to give you some meaty damage numbers. Negative 5% affinity, pretty much no slots, you might as well say. There is not really much you can do with this, at least on the slot front on the weapon. Of course, you can still lean into your armor. You do have a level 1 rampage slot, so again, there are a few things you can put in here. But generally speaking, this is if you want to go and just lean into the shield, forget the sword, and go for big, heavy hitting raw attack, then this is a pick. Also, on the topic of good picks, the new HyperX Pulsefire HASTE wireless mouse has been a game changer for me lately. I'm honestly not one for wireless mice normally, mainly because I usually forget to charge them and they then run out at the worst possible moment. But this one boasts an impressive 100-hour battery life, which alongside the new Cloud Alpha headset with its 300-hour battery life means I can charge less and play more. The mouse is also super light, making it ideal for those Twitch shooters and fast reaction style games, although let's be honest, I'm pretty rubbish at any of those games, but I just like it because it's comfy, light, portable, and looks kind of like a cheese grater. Although definitely do not try and grate cheese using this mouse. For more details, hit the link in the description box down below. Outside of that, I do also want to give a quick cool factor shout out to the Luna Garen Sword and Shield Winter's Feast Hatchet. This one actually still pretty nice. 26 ice, 330 raw attack, purple sharpness, a couple of level 1 slots, a level 2 rampage decoration slot, but really I just like this one because it's an axe. It's not a sword and shield, it is an axe and shield. That's just hella cool. Anyway, for the time being, that is pretty much it. That's a little rundown on my personal top 5 picks for Sword and Shields. Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Let me know if there are any that you think should have been mentioned. And of course, do be sure to keep it locked. If you've missed some of our recent videos, you can check out one of these ones. And stay tuned for plenty more.